Welcome back, people. Welcome back.
Welcome back, guys, to the No Gray Area podcast. 2020 was a doozy.
Doozy. I believe the correct word is trash. 2020 was bugging.
2020 definitely was trash.
Yeah, definitely.
But we just want to know where the money resides and where the Stimmy at. That's what we're trying to figure out for this year.
Okay.
So Happy New Year,
Happy New Year
to our solidified family and everyone out there. We hope 2021 brings you guys much joy, peace, love, happiness, whatever that looks like for you.
Right.
And we're just ready to get this thing rolling. So before we get started, we just want to say thank you to all of our supporters for last season.
Do it. I'm playing. Yeah, thank you so
Of
much.
course we do.
A lot of
Thank
feedback.
you guys for all your feedback, for sharing, liking our posts, getting the word out about this No Gray Area podcast.
Right.
We are definitely excited for what this season is going to bring.
Absolutely.
And what this year is going to bring for us professionally and personally. In our relationships and everything else.
And financially. Manifest it, as you would say.
Yes. Right. We are manifesting some great things this year, and we are looking forward to bringing you guys some really good content this year.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
Cool.
Yeah. So
what are we doing today?
So anyway, 2020, we're just going to recap real quick, and then we're going to roll right into figuring out where our money resides. So
you really want to recap that?
Not the negative, RIP to all the people we lost last year. It was a whole lot of family members, friends, and otherwise that were lost due to COVID-19 and 20. And we don't want to just breeze past that. We want to, send our condolences and our loves to a family that lost family due to COVID and otherwise. So we don't want to look over that. But COVID wasn't all bad. We were able to quarantine and spend some quality time with each other and our kids.
Yeah.
Whatever, you enjoyed it. He's trying to act like he didn't enjoy it, but he did enjoy it, I'm sure.
I did.
Yeah. I think we all enjoyed it, specifically for me, because most of you guys, if not all, know that I am active duty military. Almost done, but I'm still riding this wave for a little while longer. But nonetheless, it actually gave me an opportunity to spend some time with my children. Most of you know I left my oldest quite a bit before she even turned 3 years old.
Yeah.
So, it was good to actually see some of those milestones from my baby that I wasn't able to see with my oldest. So that was awesome to see.
Okay.
And to get those experiences with her, like seeing her first steps. Believe it or not, I never saw my oldest daughter's first steps. And that's pretty rough for me,
Yeah.
But we were able to, see some of those milestones with Avery that we weren't able to see with Damaris. So,
okay.
So what else happened in COVID-19 20?
People got paid.
Yeah, people got paid. So some people didn't get paid. So we don't want to overlook that either.
True,
there's a lot of people that lost their jobs, homes, and otherwise. Small businesses took great hits, and we don't want to overlook that either, because that was a big thing. So
so 2020 pretty much is a lesson to figure out how we can move on and do better and do great things.
Right.
So let's just go on, move on.
Right. We started a business. We started a podcast. That's why you guys are listening to us right now.
Right.
I actually planted a garden, and it actually grew some things.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah, I had a few tomatoes, squash, stuff like that. So, we found out, a lot of our passions and skills and stuff that we didn't really know we had. I actually have found that I'm pretty creative, I like to think, and it was, pretty interesting figuring that out.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Creative. All right.
Anyway, so I know you guys have a lot of goals and plans for 2021, and the biggest thing I will tell you guys is whatever those plans and goals are, write them down, make them plain, and stick to them. Manifest the stuff that you want. I am strong. I am a believer. I can do this. I will be great. Things like that. And that's something that we are practicing within our own household, like manifesting those things that we don't have. And making them into things that we want for our lives.
All right.
And also gratitude, right? we got to be grateful. You got to be grateful for what you have in order to be able to receive those things that you want. So that's something that, you know, we are manifesting as well. And so we want to save more money, even though we were able to save quite a bit last year. We want to definitely invest fully into our brand and into our business, because we see this No Gray Area podcast as the starting point.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
My Kira's Creation business is a starting point. But we want to grow this and make this into something way more than just, you know, this podcast and us talking to our 24 subscribers. Thank you guys for that, by the way.
So be grateful, but also never satisfied.
That's right. Never settle on where you at.
Don't get comfortable.
Right.
There's always more out there to attain.
Absolutely.
Just keep grinding.
Right. So speaking of money goals, we're going to pick up where we left off on the last episode with finances. So we left off on our finances part 1. Some people don't like to talk about finances because either you don't really have a lot, or you like, nobody's gonna tell me what to do with my money, right?
Right.
I see it all over social media all the time. You can't tell me what to do with my money. These are my coins. I work hard for my coins, and you ain't gonna tell me what to do.
Okay.
So disclaimer, we are not by any stretch of the imagination financial counselors, advisors, or gurus. We are not.
I am. So I don't know about you, but
So why aren't we millionaires?
maybe I am low key.
Oh.
I'm playing.
Oh, so you had money now. We just talked about that in our Q&A.
It's cool.
Anyway, if you're a millionaire, I'm a millionaire too.
Absolutely,
So,
together.
Yeah, that's the goal. Well, you know, yeah, we are definitely just giving you guys a few tips that have worked for us, and then we are well aware that we have a lot of work to do to get to that point. But our goal is we want to create some generational wealth, something we can pass down to our children. I know by definition generational wealth means you have it for 3 generations, but we're going to start with trying to get it to, I think we're okay for 1 generation, but we can be better, right?
Absolutely.
We can definitely be better. So we're trying to work towards that. And so the only way, you know, you can get to the big picture is you have to take it one step at a time, right?
Yep.
I think a lot of times when people get to a certain level of wealth and a certain level of understanding, they try to reach back to the people in their circles or whatever, and they try to say, oh, I'm gonna help my friends, or I'm gonna help the people I grew up with. But what they fail to do is to remember, go all the way back to the beginning. Not just, you know, you can't tell somebody that that can barely pay their bills to invest. Invest in what? Like, they're just trying to pay their bills. Right?
Yeah.
So I think you have to start with budgeting, you know. Start teaching them how to budget, you know, teaching them how to cut stuff out of their lives that could provide a little bit more money, right? Budgeting is just simply income and expenses, right? What are you bringing in and what's going out, right?
Right.
Before we start talking stocks and, you know, things like that. I mean, those things are great, but I think we need to peel all the layers back and try to meet people where they are.
Yeah,
right?
keep it simple.
Keep it simple. All right. So let's jump right on into this thing. So a lot of people trying to figure out, where my Stimmy at? You know?
I got nothing to do with me.
Yeah, so a lot of people haven't received their stimulus check yet. By the time this is aired, you may or may not have received your stimulus check. I'll tell you, we received ours and it's gone. But for a good reason, right? We invested it into ourselves. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we put it into the stock market or whatever the case, but we invested it into ourselves, you know, to make it grow for us, right?
Right.
So stimulus, do you think, babe, that it was enough?
Which one, the first round or the second round?
Both. Like, do you think the $1,200 and the $500 per dependent and then the $600 was enough?
Well, I mean, anything's better than zero, right?
Right.
So, I mean, that's a good thing. But when you read articles and things of that nature, as far as other countries getting this stuff weekly, then I'm like, all right, come on now.
Right.
What is America doing? Seriously, we're way behind when it comes to things like that.
Absolutely.
But I mean, was it enough? I mean, as long as it could take care of something that you couldn't take care of before, then it is its job.
Right.
So for me, I don't think it's enough because I love money, but you can't ask for something too much. So it did its job.
Right.
What about you?
I wouldn't say that it was enough, right? Yeah, like you say, when you compare other countries to how the U.S. did as far as like providing relief and support for people. I think they could have done definitely a better job at providing relief for people. So was it enough? No. It is better than zero, right? So I've seen a lot of people saying $600, that's all, you know, but it's $600, and I think or the first one was $1,200, and I think if you put it to good use, pay some bills that you haven't paid, because truth be told, a lot of people are getting confused about these deferments, right? Deferment does not mean that you're not going to have to pay it. Defer means to push off for a later time, right? So I think instead of, and I'm not going to tell nobody what to do with their money. Let's make that clear. I'm not going to tell you not to go buy shoes. I'm not going to tell you not to go buy clothes or buy something nice for yourself. But I will tell you, make sure you handle your business first.
Absolutely.
Business first, and then you can play later, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing that we want to make sure people understand is that, definitely take your money and do what you want to do with your money. And can't nobody tell you what to do with your money. But make it work for you. If you're behind in your mortgage, you're behind in your rent, whatever, you might want to be smart about what you're putting your $600 or $1,200 into, right?
Right, I agree.
Because once this pandemic is over,
no excuses.
No excuses, and these bills will still be there.
Absolutely.
So yeah, how do you feel about the president teasing us with the $2,000 versus the $600?
What do you mean how I feel about it? That's the same thing. Tease is like when a girl teases a guy. That's trash.
That's trash.
Don't
right?
tease me. Just give me what I need and give me what I want.
Right. So President Trump, that was trash.
Yeah, man, trash, man. Like a little female right now, man.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on Mitch McConnell and
Bruh, I think his mindset just on that old school, super old school mindset. And not even a year, the world is evolving. Right. And the new school know what time it is, so he needs to. My opinion, he needs to get out of office. Like seriously, get out of office and let the new school run it, because they have more understanding. Right. And the new Republican Party is definitely what's what I'm looking for. I can't think of the word right now. But the new Republican Party is on board with the Democratic Party. They both working together better than it was back in the day. So. Right.
Yeah, I do think that those older norms are definitely phasing out, and they're not going to work too much longer.
They're stuck in their ways.
Yeah, because these kids these days, specifically, we have a almost 13-year-old, and they're super inquisitive. They want to know why. They challenge almost everything you say because they want to know what's really going on. And I think that's part of the issue with our with the world right now is like, somebody tell you this is the way it's supposed to be only because this is the way it's always been, but is that good enough, right? We need to start challenging some of these norms and, trying to see past. Just because this is the way that it's always been done doesn't mean that it's the way that it should stay, right?
One of your favorite quotes is make it make sense.
Yeah, right. Make it make sense, and that's something that I am very big on, going all the way back to the way that I was raised, in religion and everything else. Like, make it make sense. Don't tell me this, you have to do X, Y, and Z because this is just the way that it's always been.
Right.
That's not good enough for me. And so I think now we have a generation, as much as we say, oh, these millennials are this or these millennials are that, I think the beauty in their questioning is that they're trying to find answers, right? And we have to be mindful not to mute that because they want to know why,
What's the reason
behind it, right?
Okay.
Right. And so, but yeah, so we understand that some people have been struggling to pay their bills. Some people might be catching up with their Stimmy. Some people might be like, just blowing their money on whatever they want. And that's fine too. I don't really care, right? You do you. If that works for you, that's fine.
Right.
Right. What you spend your Stimmy on?
Shoes. I don't keep it 100. Shoes and clothes.
So we sitting here telling these people to do stuff with their money, right?
But we in a better position because we planned for that.
Absolutely. And so that's the point that I'm trying to make, right?
Budget.
Right. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Everything that we needed to take care of. Honestly, a lot of this stuff, and this might be something that you guys could, use if you're not using already. If you hide the money from yourself, you won't spend it, right? Out of sight, out of mind, right? So I have several allotments set up to go to different places, that I don't even get to see it come into my bank account. So, because if I see it in my bank account, you might be more apt to spend it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it goes away before I even see it in my account, right?
Right.
So that's one thing. So I know I saw memes on Facebook too talking about when you get your $600, you should start an LLC.
Oh my god.
And there was much controversy about starting LLCs when you get your $600, right?
Uh-huh.
And again, you got to know where you stand and know what you want to use your $600 for.
Right.
Because there's other ways to have a business than LLCs. Understand that. Like, I figured that out in, starting my business, that there are other ways to start businesses. It doesn't have to be an LLC. So, a lot of times we just hear a buzzword or hear a buzz phrase or something that we hear someone talking about and we just run with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do the research for yourself, right? When you were growing up in church, most of us or some of us studied to show that self-approved, right? So just because a pastor says something doesn't necessarily mean that's how you should apply it to your life. So study and make sure you know what you're doing with your money, and you're not just following a social or societal norm that somebody said was a good thing. Right, babe?
I agree.
Right. So I think for some, starting an emergency fund would be a good thing to do with your $600. If you don't have an emergency fund, I think that would be a better idea to do, or something to do with your $600 than starting an LLC.
Emergency fund. Okay.
Yeah, emergency fund. Because I will tell you, if you don't have an emergency fund, and we talked about this in the last episode, that if you don't have an emergency fund, if anything happens, you're at the liberty of credit cards, loans, or anything like that. And all those things do is push you further in debt. It handles the situation at the forefront, but it pushes you more into debt, right?
What do you think the emergency fund minimum should be?
It depends on the person. I think rule of thumb is 3 months salary.
Okay.
Is like the basic level of an emergency fund. But if you can put more in there than the 3 months, that's great, right?
Mm-hmm.
So of course, there's moderate, I forget the words, right?
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say. But essentially, there's different levels to having your emergency fund, right? And emergency funds are not for things like buying groceries every month and, like paying your phone bill every month. Emergency fund is for something that happens, something, if it's a rainy day. Like, my grandma used to say, save for a rainy day.
Mm-hmm.
If your car breaks down, if you have to get some type of maintenance on your house,
Okay.
things like that. Some people actually use their home equity as an emergency fund.
Okay.
Home equity, using your home equity as an emergency fund is not always the best thing to do, because once you use it, it's like, okay, right? So I think you should be mindful that, yeah, you can use the equity in your home for an emergency, but trying to save some money towards an emergency fund is also a good thing too. And as much as you can save, right?
So you think you should do it like every paycheck or just like every week, or what do you suggest?
I think it depends on whoever or however your financial situation is set up, right?
Okay.
So the way that we do it is we save for our emergency fund basically every payday, right? So it's set up as an allotment. So of course it comes out at the first of the month, but the money is taken from our mid-month pay and our end-of-month pay. So that's how we do our emergency fund. And actually it goes out of our account before I even see it. So that's kind of how that works.
Okay.
And so, of course, keeping in mind that emergency fund, travel fund, all those things are different, right? You use those for different purposes. But I think that starts with starting your budget, right?
Absolutely.
It starts with your budget. So before we start talking investing and all these other great things to do that's going to give you a better return on your investment, this and that, you got to have money to invest to get a return. Does that make sense? Like, you can't tell people to invest something that they don't have, right?
I agree.
And it's risky, right?
Absolutely.
So never invest something that you really need. That's one thing to understand.
Ooh, that's key right there.
Yeah, don't put it in there if you can't stand to lose it, because just stock market, you can lose your money, right?
Absolutely.
I watch it go up and down every day, right?
Okay.
So again, it can be different for different people. So yeah.
All right.
That
What's
just
next?
depends.
What's next?
Next, we got Christmas shopping. So we know Christmas just was, a couple weeks ago. and people were out Christmas shopping, and we know you guys might have spent a lot of money on Christmas gifts. Maybe, I know I saw a lot of posts this year saying this year we're going to focus on family over gifts, and you know, that's great. So, you know, maybe some of you did not spend a lot of money because you were more focused on the family aspect of it, and that's awesome. I mean,
where you see that at? Because on my part, I saw like Birkins.
Well, you follow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right, gotcha.
Yeah, you follow a lot of, yeah. So, but whatever. I think it was a mixture of both, but you know, to each their own. I think we focused on both. But like I said in our Q&A the other day, that because we didn't travel, we had a little bit of money set aside that we could do certain things with, right? Nothing we buy for Christmas is just, oh, let me take money from my cell phone bill, or let me take money from the house payment to, you know, buy a certain thing, right?
So why was our lights all good? I'm playing.
You better quit playing. Our lights are never off, guys, so don't let him play with y'all. Okay. But yeah, so basically I know someone that I admire. She said, I like those bags under your tree. And my response to her was, you know, yeah, we decided to treat ourselves a little this year since we didn't travel. So basically, when you budget, you know where your money is and you know where it's going, so you can kind of dictate, okay, I got a little bit left over for groceries this month, so maybe I'll move that over to our play fund. Maybe we can go to the movies or something like that.
Gotcha.
All right, so little tidbits on that. Next, you know, we'll get off of Christmas shopping. You guys do what you do, but just be smart about it. Life insurance.
What about it?
Is it important?
Yeah, if you plan on killing somebody. Alright. That's too far?
Too far.
But yeah, definitely.
Bring it back.
Like you said initially, plan for a rainy day.
Yes, and life insurance is a part of that. We said we're not gurus in anything. We just know what has worked for us, and we're just, you know, trying to give you guys a little bit of what worked for us. So give you guys some of the stats. 50% of people have 57% of people have life insurance, Americans.
Wow, so a little bit more than half.
A little bit more than half.
Jeez.
Yeah. 40% of Americans will leave their families in financial distress. So that could mean you might be insured, but are you underinsured? Right? Because you can be underinsured in the fact that you might say, hey, I got a $25,000 policy, but you got to look at expenses, right? So I got $25,000 policy. I'm going to leave this for my children, but I'm also leaving my children with, you know, this car, this house, all these other expenses that they might have to take on when I die. So make sure you're not underinsured. So I think you need to, that's again, going back to budgeting. Budgeting is the foundation, right?
Right.
Going back to budgeting and saying, hey, so we got this much expenses, we have all these things, you know, how much coverage do we need? And that's another thing too, getting a financial advisor or counselor. That is important to go over the stuff with you, because I don't know everything. Gary doesn't know everything. And, you know, we need help in trying to figure out how do we get to those things. So only 30% of the 57% of Americans that have insurance have sufficient coverage.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's another, you know, 27% of people hanging out there that have life insurance, but they don't have enough,
I
right?
bet you that's the men.
I don't know. Well, I don't know.
Women are usually more responsible, so I'm pretty
Most
sure.
times, but
Which is my
y'all
opinion.
need to get it together then.
I think we catching up now, though.
Yeah.
I think we almost like surpassing you guys, but I think we catching up right now.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. I know you catching up because you ain't got no choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 4 out of 10 don't have life insurance. So that's that, you know. So, and it's important to think about this early in your life.
Yeah.
Because insurance companies are strict about their coverage. The market is competitive. So again, insurance, when you because you receive dividends off of your life insurance policy, so it's competitive, and it goes with the stock market and anything else, right? Start as early as possible, because the older you get, the less coverage you get, and your premium can be higher, right? Again, I'm not a life insurance consultant or anything like that. I do know life insurance consultants. So if you guys have any questions or anything about life insurance consultants, or you want to speak to somebody, I have a few that I can refer to you. But just keep in mind that, life insurance is important, because we all are, it's inevitable. We will all die, one day.
Jeez.
So it's definitely
So cool.
inevitable. So that's something that we need to keep in mind, right?
Okay.
We got a little visitor, guys. So.
As usual, so it is what it is.
It is what it is. We're going to keep going as long as we can.
Yeah, as long as she's quiet.
As long as she's quiet, we're going to keep going. So also there are different types of life insurance policies. So there's whole life and term life.
Explain to me.
So whole life is basically I think it's about your age limit, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
okay.
it goes by your age limit, and it can cover you for your whole life or certain terms of your life. Again, I have financial gurus that can expound upon that if you guys are interested. I'm not a professional in that. I just know that you should. And some policies have cash value as well. So
Okay. I was just
you
trying
can.
to-
I know you was trying me. I told you I'm not an insurance professional. I just know that
All right. Cool.
you need to have it. And so some policies have cash value. So as your policy grows and gets dividends and interest, there's a cash value option in there that you can take cash out for, say, a down payment on a home or something like that. So there are options there as well.
Okay.
And to my military folks, I'm gonna talk to y'all real quick. So we automatically get life insurance, $400,000, and it's a small payment for your premium, right?
Right.
But understand something. This life insurance policy that we get, the SGLI, Survivors Group Life Benefit, or Service Member Group Life Benefit. Sorry if I got the words wrong, but nonetheless, the SGLI, we get that while we're on active duty, but once we retire or we separate, that policy or that life insurance doesn't follow us. So you have to transfer that over to a Veterans Group Life Insurance Policy, or VGLI policy, which is also going to have a higher premium because you're no longer on active duty. So it might be wise that while we're on active duty that we try to get a commercial or secondary policy through another company. So we actually have that. We have military life insurance, and we have third-party provider life insurance. I have life insurance on my mother. It's of course, when I got it, she was a little older, so I have to pay a little bit more for a little bit less coverage. However, something is better than nothing.
True.
Because at the end of the day, we're all gonna die, and that is just inevitable, right?
Right.
So, yeah. So, did you know that the younger and healthier you are, the more coverage you can get with a lower premium? So I kind of talked about that before, but yes, if you get it early, it's better for your life later. So just something to think about. So
Start young.
yeah, start young. A lot of stuff is start young, especially when you're talking stock markets and IRAs and TSPs and all kinds of stuff like that. It definitely it pays to start younger, because you need time for those things to grow and mature. So yeah, so we'll switch gears here. I mean, that was kind of morbid, I guess, but we're gonna die, so we got to make sure that our family's taken care of when we die.
Just make sure you're covered. That's
it.
And now
Yeah.
that everybody's quarantined in different parts of the world, you have more than ample time to read up on these things, to study about it, and just get the answers you need to know.
Right.
So take advantage of this time that we're home.
Right, and a lot of things too for active duty. They provide free service, free counselors, a lot of stuff. When you actually get certain life insurance policy companies, they'll provide a financial advisor free of charge for active duty, if you did not know that. So we'll switch gears from that. If you guys want more information on things like life insurance or anything like that, hit me up. I'm here. We'll leave all of our contact information at the end of our podcast. So just let us know what you guys want to know, and I'm free to give you what I have. And if I don't know the answer to it, I'll find out where we can go to get the answers, right?
Right. All right. So enough of that old whole need to know stuff. Let's get some entertainment going on. What's up?
Entertainment?
Yeah, give me something fun.
All right, entertainment. Let's go. All right, so a lot of people got engaged this year. You know, a lot of wedding announcements around Christmas and New Year's and something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Some of y'all got a ring put on it. Some of y'all didn't, but it is what it is, right?
Right.
So speaking of put a ring on it, who is your favorite couple in... First of all, have you guys watched Put a Ring on It on OWN, the Oprah Network? If not, you need to go watch it. It was actually pretty good. A really good show. It was... Avery says hi. It was based out of Atlanta.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Dr. Nicole...
I don't know her
I
last
forget
name.
her last name, but nonetheless, Dr. Nicole, it was based out of Atlanta. And they had a show, Put a Ring on It. So, babe, who's your favorite couple?
Hollywood, man.
Oh,
that's my
gosh.
dog right there. You feel me?
Hollywood.
Get that southern little twang to him. I like his style.
Right.
He's funny.
So Hollywood Hollywood is from New Orleans, and he is everything there is New Orleans. I have a few friends that are from New Orleans, and Hollywood takes the cake. Like, he is the face of the state, right?
So they all act like that, pretty much.
They
Favor him or
not really. I think they are definitely prideful.
Oh, okay.
New Orleans men, I have found, are very prideful.
Okay.
And if any of y'all are listening, y'all can challenge me if you want to. It doesn't matter. Men from New Orleans are very prideful.
Okay.
Very. And territorial.
Oh.
So
okay.
there's that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think our favorite couple was Ashley and Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood was a bit much for me. You know.
Far as what?
You did.
That's funny.
Well, what did he say? What was his favorite line that he said all the time? Because I'm about that life.
Oh, if you about that life, I'm about that life. You know what
So
I'm saying?
Hollywood was definitely about that life. So the worst couple for me, well, I wouldn't say the worst couple, but the worst person on there for me was Shay. I was not a huge fan of Shay. Specifically because Shay came off as very selfish, and when it came to her thoughts about how she felt about bringing his son and Michael's son into their home after they got married, and she was like, I'm marrying him, I'm not marrying his son. That really rubbed me the wrong way.
It should.
Yeah,
if you're a caring mother or parents,
right.
I should say.
So that definitely rubbed me the wrong way when it came to Shay and how she handled that situation. Vince and I don't even remember her name.
Who?
Vince.
You sure it's not Tabitha?
Her name's not Tabitha.
I don't know that name keeps sticking to me.
Her name is not Tabitha, but I don't remember her name, but they weren't that... I mean, their storyline was interesting, but they didn't really keep our attention like Ashley and Hollywood and Shay and Michael. So,
well, I think Vince and I'm calling her Tabitha.
Her name's not Tabitha.
It's pretty much how a lot of relationships are in today's world. As far as like, if a man loses his trust with you, she's gonna take a while to get over it.
Okay, so I guess essentially their story was he cheated on her in the beginning, and it was hard for her to trust him again.
Yeah, let it go.
Let it go, right? And so that was the story on Vince, and I do not remember her name. I'm so sorry.
Tabitha.
But anyway, her name is her name's not Tabitha, guys. Her name's not Tabitha. So, but anyway, we digress, and we'll go back to this whole budgeting thing. But that was So if you haven't watched Put a Ring on It, it was actually a really good show. And if you have watched Put a Ring on It, let's talk about it, right?
Yeah, who's your favorite couple?
Who's your favorite? Yeah. Let us know what you think who your favorite couple is.
Okay.
Alright, so we're going to digress from that. We just had to throw that out there since we were talking about putting a ring on it. So while we are talking about putting a ring on it, let's talk about budgeting for weddings.
Gosh, back to finances.
Yep, back to finances. The stuff people don't want to talk about, but we got to talk about it.
Okay.
So who should be responsible for the wedding expenses, you think?
Are we talking about today's time or old school time?
We talking about today. We don't want to go back. We talking about today.
Well, with anything, it just depends on the couple's financial situation.
Mm-hmm.
If the man can cover it all, then cover it all.
Right.
If he cannot, and the woman is secure enough to go half and half with her soon-to-be husband, they go half and half.
Yeah. So I'll say this. I'm gonna put this out there, like real talk. Like I see a lot of stuff about women and men's roles and women and men's responsibilities and things like that. The man's supposed to, pay all the bills, and the woman is supposed to just keep her check to herself. It is what it is, right? I think that mentality goes back to when the husband was out making all the money and the woman was home taking care of kids and stuff like that. I think that was kind of the idea. That's what I think.
Right.
But in this time, do you? Like, I feel like if you are okay with paying half and your husband paying half or your wife paying half or whatever that looks like, I think you have to manage that on your own, right?
Right.
I am so, I would say, against societal norms, and I always challenge who said this was the way that it was really supposed to be, right? So
I don't think that there's anymore now, because women get paid way more than some guys too now.
right,
You know what I'm saying?
and I agree, and I think expectation management is one of the phrases that I use often, and I think a lot of people, and I only hear this a lot really from single people,
What?
about he got to pay all my bills.
That's why they single.
Or he got to pay all my bills. I'm keeping my check. But meanwhile, you're single. And you're single because your mindset, I think, again, these are just our thoughts, our opinions, how we look at it. But as far as like who should be responsible for wedding expenses, I think that depends on the couple, right?
Right.
For us, if we can split it and you take care of, the venue and I take care of the food, whatever that looks like, that's what we're going to do, right? Because it's about us and it's about what we want to do for our wedding, not what somebody else. Oh, my homegirl, had this wedding and her husband paid for everything, or the parents paid for this or parents paid for that. I think this society now too stuff is so expensive.
True.
And I think the rate of income is not being matched with the cost of living.
Oh.
So at this point, I think honestly, with two parents working, I wouldn't say you're barely making ends meet, but it's required, right? To have both parents working or both husband and wife working and making a certain amount of money just to keep the household going.
Like trapping.
Right? No, we're not trapping.
No
No
trapping?
trapping. No trapping.
Sorry.
But yeah, so but I think also we need, that again goes back to budgeting and how much money we have for the actual wedding. You should make sure you're budgeting for that. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not going in debt for no wedding.
Nah.
It ain't gonna happen. It is not gonna happen. When my wedding day happens, granted we've been married for a while, but when we have our wedding or big reception or whatever you want to call it, we're not gonna the next day be like, oh, we gotta pay $20,000, because we decided to have this wedding that was outside of our budget. So to each their own, but stats show that many engaged couples go into debt by using loans and credit cards to pay for their wedding.
Yo, they take out loans for weddings and all that?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes.
That's crazy.
28% reported going into debt after paying for a wedding. Average wedding cost today is $29,200.
Oh, that's not bad. That's high? I don't know.
Okay, whatever.
I've never been married before.
Average yearly salary is $59,160.
Oh, okay.
When compared to the average yearly salary, and Avery's back, guys.
She's fine. She's fine.
So simply put, just make a budget. Engagement ring thoughts. Should it be 3 times your salary? That's the rule of thumb, by the way.
That's rule of thumb? Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know about that stuff. I just know if it's icy, if it's dancing, if it's big, let's rock.
Okay, well, I guess it depends on the person, right?
Yeah.
But I just think three times your salary, I mean, I think in not retrospect, but basically when you think about it, I think it's just like, if you got it, I guess, but I would say don't go overexpend yourself over a ring when you don't really have it like that. Like, I don't know.
Don't be capping.
Don't be capping.
Alright. Gotcha.
Buy me a house or, buy me something that, I don't know, like a ring. Yeah, I love my ring, by the way, but I'm just saying, like, don't be crazy, right?
Alright.
So the average cost of an engagement ring in 2018 was $7,400.
That's it?
Gary.
I'm playing.
And 70% of the people that were in this survey had existing debt.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
Dang.
that's something to think about. It's not like they went and spent $7,500. Did I say $1,000?
Yeah, you said 1,000.
I didn't mean to say $1,000. I'm sorry, guys. $7,400, not $1,000.
Gotcha.
$7,400. I'm so sorry if I said $74,000. $7,400, but essentially, and it's not like they just went to the store and said, "Here goes some cash. Here go, the money for a $7,400 ring." So, which means if that was the average cost, the ring probably was about $5,000, and then they paid another $2,000 probably in interest, right?
Right.
So there's that.
Okay.
So.
Cool.
So I know finances is a hard topic to have. My husband, we talk about finances, but not in this case because I think he already had to go through this whole part of building a budget and going through all that. So we're past that now.
Yeah.
And so we're actually we're at the investment and all that stage, right, of our lives, right? Building. And so he hated it when we were going through this process of the whole budget thing, but now that we have it all squared away and it's good to go, these conversations are not as hard to have. So
it was worth it.
It was worth it, yeah. Having those conversations early and often were worth it, and now we're in a place where we're able to invest and we're able to, use our money and let our money make money and invest our money into ourselves and into our family so we can build that generational wealth. So I think at this point, he's okay with, even when we go back to talk about budgeting, so he'd be like, "Oh my God, we gotta talk about this," because it's hard conversations to have, but you have to have them if you want to move on in your life and have a better financial situation.
And side note, I suggest that be part of your, I want to say interviewing process in your relationship, but definitely it should be in the beginning of a relationship.
Yeah, definitely. I think you should talk about it in the beginning and make it a continuous thing.
Right.
Make it a continuous thing because I think that eliminates the fights.
That's true.
Right?
Yep.
So our final tips for this episode are: only invite friends to your wedding that will bring gifts.
Damn. Okay.
And the reason I say that, I'm being funny, but I'm also being serious too. Some people don't bring gifts. They come and eat your food at your wedding and then they just leave.
You know what? That is true. Birthday parties too.
Birthday party.
Baby showers also.
Yeah. So imagine if all your wedding guests brought like $100.
Yo. You know what? That's a good idea.
I'm just saying, like, imagine if that was to happen, right? Like, you would have a nice little nest egg by the end of your thing, I don't know.
Or, as you say, an emergency fund.
An emergency fund! Boom! There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Your wedding guest built your emergency fund.
You're welcome.
Not your wedding guest brought you a gift and now you got to go pay off your debt from the wedding. I'm not going to be at the altar smiling knowing that I got $20,000 debt I got to pay after this wedding is over. I ain't smiling about that.
Oh, so you're crying inside.
Yeah, exactly. So that's probably why those guys be up there crying at the altar for real. They're not crying because you look so beautiful walking down the aisle. They're crying because they're like, God, dog, I got a $20,000 debt that I gotta pay once this day is over.
Jeez.
That's probably why they crying. I'ma just be honest. Tell me, if you don't look at me and cry like him, we ain't in the right marriage. Yeah, no, he probably crying because he know he owes his money when this wedding is over. Let's be real. So, but anyway, these are all jokes, guys. But there's some seriousness too.
It's a good tip though.
Yeah. So some other like real tips. I just said, no, I'm serious. But anyway, some other tips is start now, saving a little bit at a time, so it's not too much of a hardship when Christmas comes around again. So, put a little bit aside. Set goals that are realistic, attainable, and well thought out. So, don't be too unrealistic in your goals. Like, oh, we want to save $10,000 this year when you don't even make that much money you don't make that much money. Because you have to think when you're saving, the rule of thumb is to save 20%. And then 80% goes towards your expenses. Okay. So just think about it. If you are trying to save that amount of money and 80%, you're using 100% every month to just make ends meet, you're probably not going to be able to reach that $10,000 goal if, that's too too far-fetched. So I think you have to be mindful where you are, how much money you're actually really making, and start small. Let's say, last year we only saved $200. This year we want to save $500, right? Mm-hmm. You might have to start small like that. I don't know people's financial situation, but it's up to you to know what that looks like and be realistic, right?
Right.
Because it eliminates the stress, or definitely reduce the stress. If you don't stay on track the whole year, it's okay. Just readjust and get back to it. So I have friends that I have helped them with their budget, got them on the right track, and they're very accountable. And so sometimes they'll reach out to me and they'll say, oops, I overspent. I spent too much of my play money this month. You're going to be mad at me. I'm not going to be mad at you. I'm just going to say, okay, it happens. Now readjust and get back to it. That's it. Because things come up, right?
Absolutely.
So invest into yourself. So that could be, if you're at that level, stocks, CDs, bonds, real estate, business, financial counselor, life insurance policy, because life insurance policies pay dividends too. So it's not just, I got to wait till I die for my kids to get this money, whatever the case, right?
Right.
There's some benefit in there too that you can use while you're alive. Get a plan. So tools, get a planner, a regular old notebook, and write down everything, all your expenses and all your income, and then that's how you start to build your budget. If you're more advanced, you can get an Excel spreadsheet.
Oh, okay.
And the formulas that you can put into that Excel spreadsheet will do the math for you. So if you're good with Excel and all the formulas and things that go into that, use Excel and let it do the math for you.
Okay.
There's other tools like everydollar.com actually has a budgeting tool that you can put all your numbers in, and it'll spit out a budget for you. There are financial counselors. Why are you looking at me like that?
Okay,
he's looking at me like this because he's already heard all this crazy.
Nah, you in your zone, so I'm like, yo.
So there's counselors, there's the Dave Ramsey's. We use some of his tips and tools, but we kind of spin it to use our own as well. Mm-hmm. There's Instagram people that you can follow, Budgetnista. I don't know her real name, but she's a good one that I listen to a lot. They now have this Earn Your Leisure University, some black guys, I think they're out of New York, that you can follow. They have a lot of tidbits, a lot of information on finances and things like that. IG is like Instagram. It's really big for people advertising different things. So just, click on a YouTube video, go follow them. I'll tag some of these different tools, some of these different websites in the comment section, but on YouTube. Definitely take advantage of these tools, free game, that's out there. So,
okay.
And get you a financial advisor if you're at that level where you need to talk to someone to help you get better with your finances.
Right. Okay.
So that's about it for this episode.
Yeah. Get it out the way.
Get it out the way so we can move on to some juicy stuff, because finances are usually a lot harder to talk about for most people than it is for other topics and stuff like that.
So true.
Right. So in closing, our manifestation words for this year are consistency and to be intentional, right? So we have the tools, we have the gifts, we have the skills. We just have to be consistent and intentional with what we're doing. Right. And so we're going to manifest that every day. This year we will provide you guys with a revamp, not only with podcasts, but some merch, some prizes, some giveaways, as well as some community outreach, if we are available to do that.
Giveaways. Okay.
Right. But anyway, thank you for tuning in to the first episode of the Season 2 No Gray Area podcast. We are so happy that you all came back to join us. Absolutely. And for those of you who are new that are joining us, thank you so much.
Welcome.
This is going to be an awesome year for us. And if you have friends or family members that do not follow us, please spread the word and like, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as to our podcast. We are on Apple, Google, and SoundCloud. So you can find us on YouTube at Gary N, the letter N, Kira Gray. You can find us on IG, Instagram at No Gray Area Podcast. Gray is Grey. And if you have feedback or questions you would like to send us, like listener questions or anything, you can email us at nograyarea20, the number 220 at gmail.com. So, Gary, do you have anything else to add?
Hey, this is your episode. I'm just here listening, absorbing.
Yeah.
That's it.
For this episode, he didn't do a whole lot of talking, but he gonna talk for some other ones because
Definitely.
this one is kind of my lane, I guess. So.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too, and I'll leave on this. You gotta know your lane in your relationship, right?
That's right.
Because I think you can grow with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're strong in this, he might be weak in this, but together we can make this thing strong and we can all be able to move forward.
There
So
you go.
I think that's something that we have found to be very beneficial to our relationship.
Absolutely.
So,
For your position.
that's right.
Okay.
All right. So, in that note,
What? To love yourself, to love each other? You know what? I like that. I think I'm gonna change it. I don't know yet, but so far we're gonna stay with, love yourself, love each other, but we're gonna come with something new.
Yeah.
We might.
We might.
Tell us how you feel about it. If you like it, continue doing it. If you don't, I'll switch it up.
All right. Okay, guys. Thank you for listening, tuning in to us. Have a great one, our solidified family.
All right, talk to you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.